the single most important observation from the journey of exploration into our creativity, our problem or challenge, and the possibility of a gentle phoenix. Introduction. Whether we realize it or not, our creativity and our creative imagination are our most valuable assets and underlies all that we do and all that we are. The Releasing Your Unlimited Creativity understanding is directed at stretching our perceptions about the nature of reality to open the door to empowering our creativity and our creative imagination to access the depth and breadth of our inherent creative ability and creative power. This particular recording addresses the single most important, if not fundamental, observation made in the journey of exploration of our creativity. Single most important fundamental observation. The single most important observation and experience summarized from the journey of exploration of our creativity, said in the simplest way using a human perspective, is that the creative essence of creation, the stuff out of which creation arises, seeks to experience its creation through us. The energy within us giving rise to our life and sustaining us is a unique expression of the creative essence of creation, and our body is the vehicle this creative essence chose to create to use for the experience it desires to have. We, our unique subjective awareness, has been invited to dance with this energy and what the energy desires to create. What does this statement really mean? The true meaning of this statement and its ramifications are unknown. The reason for making this claim is the journey of exploration into our creativity revealed collectively. Humanity is yet to understand the creative essence of creation and what is possible to create with our awareness and our human mind. The evidence suggests what is possible greatly exceeds our wildest dreams and unbelievable possibilities relative to our current level of understanding of the creative essence of creation. To begin to understand and get a glimmer what this really means is simply awesome. All one can do is be in wonderment and awe at what they can come to see what is possible through our creativity and creative imagination when they are effectively harnessed. To see and experience the depth and breadth of what our creativity can provide requires us to step past or restructure the ego and how our mind defines ourselves, such that mind will move past its limiting beliefs and adopt a new paradigm in how to live life and what it means to be a human being. Additionally, in our uniqueness, each will experience this creative essence of creation in a similar way, but differently. Intellectually, to say we are the stuff out of which creation arises and live in all the mental gyrations and permutations of what we think it means and what can be said about this fact is quite different than having an experience of this fact and what it means for our life. Many of the observed implications are discussed in the various Releasing Your Unlimited Creativity web files and YouTube recordings. Some specific implications of this fundamental observation are discussed in the RYUC After Action recordings. A simple perspective on the single most important fundamental observation. One simple interpretation of this statement and an alternative way of understanding this statement and its implications on our life based upon our current understanding without exploring the full implications of the embedded concepts within the statement, the creative essence of creation, the stuff out of which creation arises, seeks to experience its creation through us to what they imply, is as follows. We are not puppets on a string with a predetermined life. We have been given an invitation which consists of a script to play a part within a larger orchestrated play analogous to a theatrical production or movie. As the script dictates, we will be led to a variety of locations and individuals with whom to interact. Other than the time and place and the individuals who appear in our life in a given moment, our response in each moment is entirely improvisational as to how we will play our part in response to what arises in our life. Each response we have is a creative act and a co-creation. What is important to realize here is that creation is extremely participatory, and how we choose to participate is our choice. For whatever we experience, our mind will create a story to make sense out of what we experienced and why we respond as we did. Then, we believe the story we create, whether that story we create is correct or incorrect, relative to the true unfoldment of the event. We then live our life based on the belief the story we tell is correct. Experiencing the creative essence of creation, the presence. This creative essence of creation within us, seeking to experience creation through us, is experienced in one of two ways. Although these two ways are discussed separately, they are entwined with each other. One way is through feeling the flow of energy within us carrying us to the experiences we have. Here we need to realize the flow of energy within us was created by the creative essence of creation to fuel the experiences it desires to have, and the energy will carry us to where we need to be. We need to understand we were created and given life by the creative essence of creation to experience its creation as it desires. As we live that life we were created to experience, we will bring forth life within our being and have the health and passion for life we need to have the experiences desired by the creative essence of creation. Following the feeling is what we do when we just allow ourselves to be carried from experience to experience. Without any thought of being carried from experience to experience is how most individuals journey through life. We just respond to whatever next presents itself. There's nothing wrong with this approach, for the process was designed to work this way. Here we need to realize our thoughts are responses to the energy we sense. We follow what we feel, overlaid with our judgments and mental interpretations of what we are experiencing. Our thoughts are mental interpretations of what we feel. We then create some story about our life and what we think our life is about. However, when we awaken to this energy and what it seeks to experience, our life begins to change. When we awaken to this energy is then most frequently experienced as a deep, heartfelt passion or a desire arising from the heart's desire to create something of importance to ourselves, but not necessarily for ourselves, or simply a passion to act from the heart. Here, the heart symbolizes the creative life energy within us and sustaining us, for our heart is seen as what gives life. Awakening to and following this energy is what gives rise to the experiences characterized as following your bliss, following your heartfelt passion, following the heart's desires, being in the flow, and a variety of other similar descriptions. When we align with the flow, we can allow the energy and the particular feeling it provides to guide our life when in alignment with the flow. Intuitive insights, synchronicities, even guideposts can routinely be seen to arise. This path is about feeling, but not following any feeling we have. Rather, this path is to discern what gives rise to a particular feeling and contentment with what we do in life. It is to follow our inner wisdom in how it causes us to respond to life. In awakening and following the flow of this energy, this flow will give a direction and meaning to our life. When one is aligned with the flow and feeling the contentment in what is occurring, there is a knowing. One just knows without a doubt, this is what I should be doing in and with my life. The second way this creative essence of creation is experienced is as a presence. The presence can be experienced within each of us. Although each person will experience this creative essence of creation in their own unique way, it is generally experienced as a presence. This presence is something that is present within us that cannot be explained, but it can be felt. But it's not felt as in the flow. Rather, it is felt as if sitting very close to another, feeling their energy. We feel their presence. This presence wants us to access the power, ability, and health to achieve what it created us to experience. If we examine our life and look carefully, we can begin to see there is a presence there in our life and often experienced much like a deep undercurrent pulling us or propelling us through life. This presence has been described in various ways and can be described in as many unique ways as there are individuals. You could call this presence a divine presence or whatever you wish. To attempt to describe this presence anything other than a presence is to move into personal perception, if not speculation, as to what it really is. When I first experienced this presence in the exploration of our creativity, I called this presence our creative spirit with our creative life energy that sustains us. I talked about the creative spirit and our creative life energy as both being intertwined and integrating the connection reflected in the relationship between our mind and heart, giving rise to the mind-body connection. Only in time did I come to understand the deeper connection between our creativity, the creative essence of creation, and this relationship to our life. That is, we create in every aspect of our life. I made the connection when I realized we are the stuff out of which creation forms. The stuff out of which creation arises lies within us and gives rise to our creative ability and creative power. It can be said we have the same power of creation which created creation within us and available to us in every moment. What this means to us and what we do with this understanding is our story and our journey through life. My personal understanding of this presence and how I personally have come to view it is discussed in the RYUC After Action Reflection. What exactly is this presence inside of us? Given my experiences with the creative essence of creation and what this presence catalyzes within us, I prefer referring to this presence as the creative essence of creation, wanting or desiring to experience itself and its creation through us and within us. Our human mind will filter all of our experiences based upon what we believe and direct our creative life energy into what our mind chooses based upon what our mind has come to believe and the preferences and prejudices our mind has for almost anything. The preferences of our mind gives us a choice. The choice is to follow the presence as we understand and perceive the presence unique to us, or follow what our mind has come to believe is important for us based upon what mind has observed in life. This presence is paying attention to our life and is commenting on our life. At times there are moments that it feels like we are being helped by hidden hands by something in us that knows us better than we know ourselves. This presence has been there since our birth and carries us through life. I personally became aware of this presence at age 4, but I did not understand this presence at the time. I was only aware of how my mind was interpreting it. But as was said, the creative essence of creation seeks to experience its creation through us. As such, this presence may not be interested in our comfort, but it is interested in the truth of our nature, whatever that truth may prove to be. Only in living and being our true unique self can we see our unique gifts as to what this creative essence of creation desires to express through us. One will come to observe where what our mind wants is often at odds or in conflict with what this presence desires. so one can expect some type and kind of ego struggle occasionally, if not throughout the process. It has been observed if we do not live to some degree with this energy within us which brought us into reality and what it desires for us, we will never find fulfillment. There will always be this feeling there is something we are missing in life, or that something just does not feel right. Our life does not give us the fullness that we intuitively know is available. We become puzzled as to why we do not feel fulfilled in life, and life is worth living. When we are not going in the right direction and something has to be changed, we will be guided, nudged, and directed in some way. But we must be open to listening to the information this presence provides. Otherwise, if we are not paying attention, it is quite common we will have some type of intervention in our life, if not an experience which some would judge as a traumatic experience. How we access and unravel what this presence is communicating to us and to understand what it is asking of us is unique to ourselves, involving sorting through all of the distractions in life to which we are continually inundated. The typical recommendation is to quiet the mind and listen for guidance. Although generally a good recommendation is not quite that simple. Rather, one needs to become very mindful and aware of exactly how and what this presence communicates to us. Our necessary action is not about quieting the mind. Our necessary action is about becoming aware as to what is being communicated. This requires a solo journey. Others can advise us and suggest ways to understand what is asked of us, but it is our journey, and no one can take this journey for us. Dancing with the creative essence of creation. To dance with this creative life energy flowing through us requires us to learn to navigate from the heart. To navigate from the heart is to become aware of what this energy flowing through us desires to experience and allow the energy through what we feel to set the direction of our path in life. Then use our mind, its creative imagination, and what our mind has come to learn about life and about living in the world in the time and place of our existence. Our task is twofold. One is to give this creative life energy what it desires to experience, and two, in addition to aligning with this creative life energy, is to do what is asked of us to survive in the world in a way that we find ourselves able to create a life worth living. A life worth living is a life so rich and so full that if we died in this moment and discovered eternity doing what we are doing now, our life is so rich and full in opportunities and adventures and internally satisfying, we would be perfectly satisfied to live eternity exploring all that is available to us. Alternatively said, each of us exists for a purpose and a role to play, created and orchestrated by the creative essence of creation. How we choose to respond to what enters our life is where we co-create with creation. Our response to life and what is presented to us is the co-creation. Every response to life is a creation. Every response is a creative act. To create is to bring something new into existence. What is created can be a copy of something or something new, original, and never before seen. As a minimum, every response we make in life, we are bringing into existence a way of being, and that new response can be a copy of the past or something new and never before experienced. Our creativity and our creative imagination ultimately guiding our response to life is our direct connection and personal experience of the source of creation, the creative essence of creation giving rise to creation. In each moment, we are a creator creating a response consciously in awareness or unconsciously in unawareness. Understanding and acting on the implications of what is stated here is the starting point and foundation to understand several things. One is why we are here in physical creation. A second thing is about taking ownership of our experiences. And a third is about understanding the depth and breadth of our creative power and creative ability available to us. Here it needs to be noted that to fully understand what is stated here, one needs to act on what is reported here and do one's own experiments to validate the understanding experientially for oneself. We need to remember creativity is experiential. Creativity is something experienced. To sit and contemplate possible options or variations to what we are contemplating is an experience of creation. Contemplation in that moment is bringing something, a way of being, into existence not previously existing in the moment for the time and place you find yourself. To validate the understanding stated here experientially will require a journey in a variety of areas, many of which are briefly discussed in the recording on the implications of the statement, the creative essence of creation desires to express itself through us. However, the only question that we each really need to ask and act on is, what is being asked of me? In asking this question, or its equivalent question in your own way, we then only need to listen and feel the answer however it arises. As a result of the nature of our mind, we may never get a clear mental picture of what is asked of us, but we will feel it. Our problem or a challenge. Our problem or challenge depends on our perspective. Problems tend to be seen as issues or obstacles, typically seen as negative or undesirable, which need to be solved or resolved to achieve a particular endpoint. A challenge is seen as a situation or task requiring effort, skill, or determination to overcome and often provides an opportunity for growth or personal development. Challenges are typically seen as opportunities and problems are seen as obstacles. The issue we all face is when we grow up, we are not taught how to get in touch with the unique expression of our creative life energy and the presence within and learn to dance with the world. Rather, we are taught how to survive in the world and live in the world based upon the world in which we grew up and with what is relayed to us by our early caregivers. We do not learn to follow our unique truth and perception. To become our unique truth, eventually we need to shed all that is not ours. We are faced with a transformation in some way in our life to return to our uniqueness and our authentic self. The challenge or problem we face to address this situation is simply deciding how we choose or do not choose to deal with all the programming and our life experiences which keep our uniqueness and creativity held captive in a cage of our own making. Possibility of a gentle phoenix. Choosing to step out of life we have been led to live and to move to a life in line with our authentic self, in alignment with the desire of the creative essence of creation, requires a change in the way we live our life. To align with the desire of the creative essence of creation requires a transformation or a life change of some type. The Phoenix experience has often been used to describe this transformation. Phoenix experience appears to arise from the mythology of ancient Egypt, but very prevalent in Greek mythology. It has been described in a variety of similar ways. The phoenix is a bird that is consumed by the fire of its own nest and then reborn from its own ashes, representing the cycle of transformation, death, and rebirth. The term is now used metaphorically and refers to a profound personal transformation, usually following intense hardship, trauma, or destruction, often characterized as the dark night of the soul followed by a rebirth. Stepping out of the programming of life and the hardships of life to align with the flow of the creative life energy within our being, arising from the desires of the creative essence of creation, has been characterized as requiring a phoenix experience, a transformation from who we have come to think we are to who we truly are. What became very clear in the journey of exploration into our creativity, the personal transformation of intense hardship, trauma, or destruction to align with what the creative essence of creation asks of us is not required. That is, a gentle phoenix, a more faster, easier, gentler, and more playful experience can be had. The gentle phoenix arises from working with the inherent natural self-healing process available within the human psyche and its mind-body connection and the body wisdom, much like the way the body heals any injury. As with any injury, there may be some outside assistance to assist the process, but the healing comes from within and the body's natural healing abilities. So too using the natural self-healing process for our transformation. We need to surrender to the process, assisting only when necessary. To consciously work with this process requires a perspective on life that recognizes the existence of the desire of the creative essence of creation within us. Here, it needs to be understood the transformation process is not about healing. It's about transforming one's life and is often interpreted as requiring some type of healing because all healing will ultimately require a change in lifestyle if the root issue is to be addressed. There may be an associated healing, but it is not about healing. It is about transforming one's life to a different way of being and moving more in alignment with the desires of the creative essence of creation. The inherent natural self-healing powers available to us require a close attention to the body and the awareness of feeling, which gives rise to our intuition and body wisdom. As such, accessing the gentle phoenix requires allowing our internal guidance found within each individual to lead. The challenge is to access our unique internal guidance and understand how it works within the unique individual. Understanding how it works within is a solo journey unique to each individual. It is about nurturing the inherent self-healing process. In this regard, it is a very feminine process of assisting and nurturing an unfoldment as opposed to the thrusting masculine aspect of mind to seek to jump in and act on what mind thinks needs to be done. A gentle phoenix requires awareness and observation. Analogously, the process is much like how one nurtures the fetus growing within the womb. The fetus will unfold quite naturally. We just need to be aware of what the process requires as it is unfolding. Observation of the journey of exploration into our creativity suggests if one could learn to follow the passion which arises from the flow of our creative life energy as it shifts in our life, we would have the doorway to the gentle phoenix. It would be a doorway to access the creative ability and creative power we need to create both that inner satisfaction with life, which never runs dry no matter what is happening externally in our life, and create a life worth living without a lot of hardship, trauma, and destruction. The biggest issue we face is distinguishing between the communication from the creative essence of creation from the thinking and thoughts in our own mind. The trick is simply to become aware of the passion that leads to creative play as it shifts in our life and be ready to move to follow it. Now, it needs to be noted the Phoenix experience does lie on a spectrum. At one end is the traditional intense hardship, trauma, and destruction of one's life and the dark night of the soul. At the other end is a totally fast, easier, gentler, and more playful experience. The choice is really ours, and all it really depends upon is a willingness to step out of mind and follow the flow of the creative life energy, giving rise to one's heartfelt passion. Dealing with the possibility of a gentle phoenix is again about our choice. Are we willing to work with what arises within us? Do we deny what is arising and continue to follow what our human mind has come to believe and think it knows the path forward? Here again, we need to remember the desire of the creative essence of creation flowing through us existed before our human mind developed. It provides the direction for our life, and we need to feel it and not think it. We need to remember our life is a new, original, never-before-experienced creation, and our mind only knows the past. We must be open to feel and where our energy is leading us. Information related to assisting in creating a gentle phoenix is discussed in other posted recordings and web files. A starting point. Exploring and using what has been provided here in this recording on the single most important fundamental observation from the journey of exploration into our creativity is only the basics and a starting point. To truly embrace and explore the true depth and breadth of what it means that we are the creative essence of creation, expressing itself through us, goes well beyond what is discussed here and beyond what is discussed in all the Releasing Your Unlimited Creativity Understanding web and YouTube postings. The true depth and breadth of what it means to be the creative essence of creation is something which calls us to experience for ourselves. It is a solo journey. We can listen to others and see what works for them, but we have to do our own experiments and exploration as to what works for us, and look at our own inner awareness as to what gives us life and moves us in the direction of a life worth living. The challenge is how to access what is possible. Additional information and a variety of discussions on the implications of this understanding and the creative essence of creation within us, and how the basis of this single most fundamental observation of our creativity arose, are found in the posted RYUC websites, the RYUC YouTube recordings, and the RYUC After Action Report YouTube recordings, and may be of assistance to you. It is suggested after listening to this recording, consideration is given to listening to the RYUC After Action Report reflections entitled Some Implications of the Most Important Observations from the Journey of Exploration into Our Creativity. Closing thought and question. One of the goals in discussing the findings of the journey of exploration into our creativity is to bring your attention as the reader or listener to these types of events or occurrences in your own life. The question with which I leave you with relative to this topic is, have you experienced an internal guidance, a presence within which seems to be guiding your life even though it may only appear random at different times? If you think back and find you have not had such experiences, it is recommended you reflect carefully over your life. In doing so, you will see some form of it, for we all have it. We are just not taught to pay attention to it. Most of us are too busy following the programming we have been given and have received, rather than listening to our internal guidance.